That day we've all been waiting for is here. Fall camp day one. It is in the books. Josh Heupel's met with the media. It's kind of doesn't give away a whole lot, but discuss said it was a great day on the practice field. There's news and notes out there, volquest.com, and I'm sure there's plenty of clips on Twitter as well. But I was watching the practice highlights, so I'm going to kind of give. Again, I'm not there, but I'm going by what I've read, what I've witnessed in the videos. I'll give you my observations on it as we go through it. So make sure you hit the like, the share. It is free to subscribe. We're almost to 4,500. Pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome right now. Actually, 4,400, excuse me. I was 100 away. 4 away from 4,400. Hit that subscribe button, if you will. And Monday nights, we're live, 8 o'clock. Combination of myself, Jordan Moore, Kerry Williams, and we'll see. We may get some more on as well. I'm not promising players or media or anything, but there may just be some other guests on along the way. Let's get into this thing, though. Day one, of course, the big question is quarterback, how the quarterbacks look. Based on what I've read today and what was interesting, quarterback number one out of the gate, and it means nothing. I wouldn't even say quarterback one. I would just say first to go through drills. Let's don't mistake that as there was a QB one today. But Jake Merklinger was first in drills that, for the most part, that according to the report from Eric Kane, VolQuest.com, as the VolQuest guys, of course, were there. Multiple media. I've seen Rocky Top Insider was there. There's only periods from what I gather that are open to the public. They don't get to see the whole practice. I really wish it was kind of like the NFL. It seems like the media have unlimited access to NFL practices. I wish it was the same with Tennessee, but that's just the way it is. And I'm honestly not sure if there's any other colleges that are totally open to the media or not. I know the NFL is. I wish that was the case here. But at the same time, everybody's trying to fool somebody, I guess. But Merklinger, it said, was for the most part the first one to go through drills. And according to the observations from the VolQuest article as well, Merklinger was the most accurate of the day. Now, he said that Aguilar looks the most polished from a mechanical standpoint as far as quick release, how he moves his feet, and that. And just looking at the video, too, you can really tell a big difference between the three quarterbacks in terms of basically, George McIntyre, you can tell, has not been in a college football program for a real long period of time. Still got some weight to put on. Merklinger looks the part. Aguilar definitely looks the part. He's the biggest of the bunch. But that's why with McIntyre right now, based on his build and his release, and they said it in the notes that his release is a little long right now, so there's mechanical stuff they'll work on. I think you'll see him in games like ETSU and some of those, but I really, and this is just my opinion, it could be wrong. This is not based on talent. This is based on the whole thing. I would look for him to redshirt this year. Just my opinion on it, and unless, an emergency comes up. I think it comes down to Aguilar and Merklinger. I'll still be surprised if it's not Aguilar, but it's interesting to me that Merklinger, and again, it means nothing, but it's interesting. He's kind of the first one out, or first one most of the day. Day one, they're not in pads or on just helmet shorts, so really means nothing today. Once you get further into camp, then we'll kind of see where it goes. Some of my observations just watching the videos. Number one, the offensive line looks the part, and David Sanders Jr. looks the part of a five-star freshman. You can tell that dude's come in and put in the work. But all the linemen, just in the periods they watch, it looks like a solid line as far as build goes. I'm excited about this line this year. If they can get them to mesh, they can get them to work. And it was said out of the gates that William Satterwhite was center, Sam Pendleton was the right guard, and then there were some periods Pendleton was center, Sham Umaroff was the right guard. But left to right, Hurd, Wendell Moy Jr., Satterwhite, Pendleton, David Sanders Jr., and then the backup to Lance Hurd was Jermias Hurd. The backup to David Sanders Jr. was Bennett Warren, and then Jesse Perry was working in the middle. They're starting to build some solid depth here as well, and all these guys look the part. They put in the part outside of outside of your two transfers and David Sanders Jr., all these guys this is, at least their second year in the program. I think that's a positive, and that's the key to building depth for this line. This line looks the part, though, and so I like that. Didn't see anything on running backs. I saw a little bit in the clips of the wide receivers. I'll be honest, the wide receivers look a little thin. There's definitely no Brew McCoys or Dante Thorntons out there running around from what I saw, but some of the interesting too. Of course, Boo Carter, the question. Boo's with the team. The videos they showed, he was going through the drills or the warm-ups, no helmet, and it said once they got to the team part, he went inside for individual drills. So Boo's status is still, he's with the team. And I saw people on Twitter immediately yesterday trying to say, yeah, there was nothing going on. It was all made. No, it wasn't. If you listen to Josh Heupel's press conference yesterday about Boo Carter's status, he's got work to do. And so, yeah, he's with the team. They want him to be there, but he has work to do. He did miss workouts. And so more or less the way I read it, he's got to earn his way in. When will that be? We don't know. They said Chris Brazel was not working out today, but it's nothing. Doesn't seem like it was anything major. And then, a big question yesterday too, and of course, Jermon McCoy was not practicing today. They said there's no timetable on his return. That led, I seen some people put down that Ryan Callahan 24/7 was on the Eric Ainge show and said that could be that McCoy's not even ready till the Alabama game. That sounds like a worst case scenario to me with it. And I honestly wonder if best case is Georgia. And with Colton Hood in the fold, they said Jalen McMurray was working the star position today. First two safeties out of the gate were Andre Turndine, Idris Farouk, but said Caleb Beasley was getting plenty of work as well. I really think your first two games, you would be good with that line, with Hood, with Ricky Gibson, with McMurray, and then, of course, your safeties. McCoy's not going to affect the safeties as far as who plays unless they kind of dual train somebody. But I didn't expect them to come out and say, we're looking at a timetable of Jermon McCoy being ready by Syracuse, Georgia. You never know when there could be setbacks along the way. And maybe he's ahead of schedule, too. That remains to be seen. But it was, looking at it as well, there was some video of the tight ends. Miles Kitzelman, I think, was doing some things today, but there was a video of Ethan Davis, Jack Van Dorselaer, and Deson Bream hitting the sled and then coming off. And Ethan Davis knocked the crap out of it. Van Dorselaer did a pretty good job. Bream, it was fine. He didn't have near the thunder, I guess you could say, that the others do. Ethan Davis is an interesting one to me. We've talked about his potential for a couple years in the program. And a part of me wonders, too, with his size, with his ability, could you at some point have some kind of a package and slide him out wide? Again, that's me speculating. Same with Deson Bream. Two guys with the ability, especially if you're in the red zone, could you create a matchup with their size against a smaller defensive back? I don't know if it's something that's looked about. It's me speculating. It's me personally. If I were, it just sounds interesting to me. So will the staff do it? I don't know. They know better than I do on that stuff. But it sounds like something that could be, especially in the red zone, a big matchup problem for other teams with Tennessee. Looking at it as well, he spoke pretty highly of that. Seemed like all the linebackers, because Prelati and Harmon, they apparently had off-season shoulder surgery, said they were going through the drills. I'll tell you, man, nobody has done anything to calm down my interest in seeing Edwin Spillman and what he can do. Tim Banks spoke highly of him yesterday in the press conference about how he busted his hind end this offseason. And they said today in the observations on here that Edwin Spillman was carrying himself like a starter today as well. I think this dude is going to be, if he stays healthy, which was, we would have seen him more last year had he not been hurt. He played 4 games. He did redshirt, but they played him basically what he was available. I think this dude's got the capability to be the man at linebacker. I really do. I'm very high on him. I like this linebacker unit as a whole. I think it's the most talented linebacker unit we've had in a long time down there. And obviously, and, I know we had Toa and those guys that had the talent. They were only there a year. We didn't get to see it. Jones had some decent units. This one to me, though, and just seeing the process with what this staff's putting together. And I'll tell you, I want to do some content on the trajectory of this program, not only for this year, but down the line. And I think it's high. I really think we're keep building to where we're in that national title conversation on a yearly basis. Right now, I think we're in that make the playoff conversation. I think things are shifting, though, based on the talent and where we're going with it. There's talent all over this team and this field. It's young. It's underdeveloped. Jordan Moore and I talked about it on Monday night. But, man, this year, who knows where it's at? And maybe, with the quarterbacks being – you got Aguilar coming from App State. I'm not really considering UCLA. He didn't play at UCLA, but I'm going to consider App State. Merklinger's played very little. McIntyre's not played to college level. What is there to expect out of the quarterbacks? That's something we'll know with due time. To me, the biggest thing I want to see, Josh Heupel talked about in his press conference, it's not where they're at today. It's that progression. What we're going to see is the games. I want to see that progression. I expect, obviously, the quarterbacks to look better against Syracuse and ETSU than I will against Georgia. All right? And I think that's kind of, you go back to Nico last year, he lit up the non-conference games, looked good against NC State, got to conference playing Oklahoma, and all of a sudden, that's where it got real. That progression, to me, starts with Georgia end of the year. Where does it go? Do these guys improve, or do they kind of spin their tires in the mud, or do they even regress at that point? I'm excited. I'm excited about this team this year, and I've said it. I'm still sticking to 9-3 just because the 3 teams I picked them to lose to. I've not seen them win against Georgia since the Dobnell boot, and we've not seen them beat Florida nor Alabama on the road in 22 years. Now, I have to see it to believe it. I want to see it, and I want to believe it. But, I have to see it at this point. But I don't know if there'll be any kind of news of any other point today. We're in practice mode at this point. The next big thing as far as newsworthy for this program is recruiting, in my opinion. Hyder announces in August. Darius Gray announces in August. Everything I read, it's like Tristan Keys, Tennessee is really, really doing a good job in that recruitment. Could anything, but he still stays committed to LSU. Celesi Moa commits, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow. So that could be some pretty newsworthy stuff as well. Tennessee, Utah believed to be the 2 in that one. And that would be a big one for Tennessee if they can get him as well. Of course, there'll be more on the board also. As far as content, I mentioned wanting to do a trajectory of the Tennessee football. I've got to talk some Tennessee baseball today as well. I'm pretty excited about some things that have been going on this summer. Enough rambling from me. Frank, House of Orange. I'll see you when I see you.